Also, your camera's not an OBS, that. Right?
What's
Or not
that?
OBS, Discord.
Oh yeah. It's just not showing mine in there. Anyways, we are live. Hello. I'm gonna start the recording in three, two. Hello, welcome to X to Interact. I am back here with Eric, and today we're going to discuss what the Activision Blizzard passing the FTC case against them means for everything, like where we're at with that, and what it can mean for gamers and Game Pass in general. Again, I'm here with Eric. How's it going, man?
Hey man, I want to say is toss a coin to your Witcher. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. So you say you've been
been
watching The
watching that.
Witcher? Yeah.
Yeah, been watching that Netflix Witcher series, and I'm hooked. Just finished season 2 last night, and I told you guys after I finished season 1 that I was gonna buy the game on Steam because the Steam sale was going on, and I did. So got it loaded on my Steam Deck already, and played like an hour of it, and I was like, you know what? Let me finish whatever's available on Netflix. So I went to watch season 2. Then I'm gonna watch whatever half of season 3 is available, and
So
then wait for whenever the next half
I
comes
was
out.
gonna say you're not gonna wait until all of it's out to like binge it.
I mean, I think they said there's gonna be like more than like there's gonna be more seasons, right? So I mean, it might as well
Yeah,
just get caught up now. So
that's true. That's true. Yeah, I really enjoyed what I watched of The Witcher so far. I
yeah,
think it's definitely a big bummer that we have him stepping out of the role, but I mean, it sort of makes sense to me, right? In the way that he was saying, like, oh yeah, the story's not going the way he wants it to, and they
yeah,
couldn't come to an agreement. But yeah, I don't think it's as bad as people might think it would be to have is it Liam Hemsworth, right, replacing.
yeah. Liam Hemsworth is coming in as Geralt for
Yeah,
season 4 and beyond, right?
yeah, I don't think it's as bad as people might think it would be. I think people are jumping to conclusions thinking he'll be awful or what, just not the same. But he won't be the
Yeah.
same. But like, I don't think it'll be nearly as bad. I'm hoping I'm correct with that. But yeah, I don't know. It's just been kind of been crazy. You finished Final Fantasy 16, right?
Yeah, so we haven't done the just like a little thing over here. We haven't done
Yeah,
the podcast like a couple weeks. So we're like there's like a lot of things to update people on.
for sure.
Um like our last real video was like that Final Fantasy 16 unboxing I did. We did do like an Xbox game stream after that. But yeah, it has been a while since like we updated our audience like what's really going on.
Yeah, you
Just
want to?
stuff that's going on. But yeah. Um
I would
After that
say,
unboxing video, really played like really just like binge a lot of Final Fantasy 16. Finished it. Really enjoyed it. The ending, I mean, it's kind of I don't really want to say much, but like I kind of feel like the game like tapers off towards the end, and like it's still a good game. It's just that I kind of felt like okay. I was like, all right. They kind of peaked at this certain point, but I still enjoyed the game very very much, and I would give it like a 9 out of 10 on my scale. Um,
I
Almost have all the trophies in it. The only trophies I have to left to do to get the platinum is to master every ability, which means a lot of grinding for ability points, and then just finish the game on Final Fantasy mode, which is basically like hard mode that you can only unlock after beating the game. So basically, got to run the game through New Game Plus on that, and then I get the platinum.
so you're going for platinum.
Hopefully, I mean, like I haven't played it in a bit, and I'm like, do I want to do New Game Plus or do I just want to hop in The Witcher? So I'm like trying to juggle in between those two. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've kind of just been, I don't know, since we last spoke. I've just been clearing out the backlog and things like that. Um,
Yeah,
Playing more Tears of the Kingdom. It's consistently something that I just put on for like an hour, maybe five, and do some different things there. I'm about I have two of the major like dungeons done, and then like just a bunch of side stuff. A bunch of the underground explored. I feel like,
yeah.
just because I think it's more exciting because there's just you can't really tell what's going on unless you like throw things, right? Yeah, I really enjoying that game. I'm playing Darkest Dungeon 2, which had its 1.0 release that came out not too long ago. Probably Mayish, I think.
Okay.
I'm really enjoying that game. It's flippin' hard. It's so difficult, but it's difficult in a way that's like, all right, I know I'm going to get these skill points each time, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do that whole roguelike thing of like, all right, one more run now that I'm a little stronger, see how far I can get. And I don't know if they ramp up the difficulty every time you go, but it sometimes feels like it's keeping
Yeah.
up with you a little bit. So yeah, um, the big ones that I've played are probably those. I did come back to Cyberpunk a little bit to check it out before like Phantom Liberty.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that's going to be a revitalization for the game. But
Yeah.
yeah, enough of.
I
Wait, go ahead.
I was gonna say I definitely wanted to like take a break after like Final Fantasy 16, but
Yeah,
then like I said, Witcher is like pulling me in, so I'm like, oh man, I don't know, because like there's really not much happening like end of this month. I believe Pikmin 4 is that this month or next month. I don't know,
it's the end
but
of this month, July 28th.
yeah, and I know Nintendo put out a demo. I downloaded it. I haven't tried it out yet. Never was really a big Pikmin guy, but like I don't know, maybe I could try it out. Who knows? But then
Yeah,
again, this month has been kind of crazy with bills, so I'm like, I don't know if I can afford that right now because like it's a lot of car taxes. My car broke
mm,
down at some point like during the month, so I'm like, yeah, not the greatest time to be like trying to get some games, but yeah,
absolutely. Um, yeah, I think it's just kind of been a weird, super busy, crazy time. Obviously, so like I guess a few updates before we get into Activision, Blizzard, and Xbox. Sam is no longer a host on the show. So as of I think maybe 2 weeks ago, I believe. So he'll still be a guest and he'll still be around occasionally. But just so you guys know, Sam is no longer on the show. Gaff, I believe, is busy with some other family plans and things like that. But hoping to have him back on soon. Uh, and we're trying new things out, new formats with like the podcast. And so any feedback you have would be great in regards to that. Just let us know in the comments or however you like on your social platforms. That being said, all that out of the way, let's get into this nitty gritty Xbox thing that just seems to never end. Feels like we're kind of at the end of the tunnel though, right? Like the long tunnel.
well, I mean, definitely a lot has been going on the like past couple weeks with the FTC and Microsoft.
Yeah.
Um, even the CMA stuff like there's a whole bunch of this Activision Blizzard acquisition going on, and like it seems like we're at the end of the tunnel finally. Hopefully, we'll maybe see like on Monday, perhaps. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah,
So I brought this up because we have uh in my feed this morning we had this article from The Verge that was saying Sony agreed to conditions now that obviously they lost their the FTC lost the case with the against Microsoft Activision Blizzard merger, and now in that like wake of that, we have Tom Warren at The Verge saying, "All right, well, let's see here." He says the bitter battle over Call of Duty on PlayStation is over as Sony signs a Microsoft deal, which they did confirm to be that 10-year Call of Duty deal.
yeah,
To not keep it off PlayStation, right? So Sony has agreed to a 10-year deal for Call of Duty with Microsoft to keep the franchise on PlayStation after the proposed Activision Blizzard acquisition. Sorry. Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer says Sony and Microsoft have agreed to a binding agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. This ends a bitter battle between the companies that has been waged both privately and publicly over the past year after Microsoft announced its proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard in January. So there's a little bit of a tongue twister there. We have
yeah,
some pull quotes here that Tom provided. It says, we are pleased to announce that Microsoft and PlayStation have signed a binding agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation following the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. We look forward to a future where players globally have more choice to play their favorite games. And you know, it's kind of the drum they've been beating this whole time. It's like almost a mantra, kind of almost culty in some ways, where they say it's like we support having games wherever the players are, right? Um, that being said, it says Brad Smith. It says from day one of this acquisition, we've been committed to addressing the concerns of regulators, platform and game developers, and consumers. Even after we cross the finish line for this deal's approval, we will remain focused on ensuring that Call of Duty remains available on, I assume, PlayStation is what he's saying, and on wherever the players are, right? Because it cuts off after that there. It says, while Microsoft's initial announcement doesn't mean 10 years for Call of Duty on PlayStation, Kari Perez, head of global communications at Xbox, confirmed the 10-year commitment to The Verge. That makes the deal similar to a 10-year agreement between Microsoft and Nintendo, which we heard about earlier with the cloud stuff. Don't know how that's really going to shake out the quality there, but I mean, kudos to them, I guess, providing it to other places. Really, it's just interesting to see, like, this, like you said, it's almost bitter, right? Like they've had this weird back and forth between welcome, and ignored that. That's me switching. But anyways, yeah, it just bitter, like, rivalry almost between the two companies.
Yeah.
What's been your say? Are you okay? So you're exhausted like everybody else, I would assume, of like the things.
Yeah, this has been going on for so long.
Yeah.
It's getting like tiring. And it's like not even like meaningful like updates,
No.
really. It's just like, oh, this company is against Microsoft's acquisition. Oh, this one is for Microsoft acquisition. Mainly it's been like a bunch of companies like for the acquisition except Sony.
Yes.
And I'm just like I'm like tired of hearing all these updates. This acquisition was like announced like what, 2 years ago at this point? 1 year ago? I don't know. Time's a flat circle, but
so I think
everything's like just a lot of updates and like no like
was first announced. I believe it was last year, over a year ago.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just been like a lot of updates and like it's been like very, very tiring, that's for sure. Just constantly hearing it in the news. Constantly all the fanboys on social media just like fighting the wars on each side. I'm just like, can we just stop this? Like, please.
Can we just recognize the corporate consolidation is kind of crazy?
Yeah.
And then move on? Like it's almost futility at a certain point. And that's why this is kind of like, all right, well, what does it actually mean for gamers and Xbox and PlayStation specifically? What are we going to get? What are we not going to have? Because that's really all that matters that's all that we can control and make our opinions on as consumers. So that's kind of why I was like, all right, well, what does it actually mean for us that are just normal run-of-the-mill people? January 18th, 2022 was when it was first announced that they were going to do to what, $68 billion. So
yeah, so like about it's been like about a year.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
Yeah, like I've been saying, like a lot of back and forth from like Microsoft, Sony, CMA, FTC, a lot of stuff going on there. And you know, like this past week, the FTC ruled, or not the FTC, the judge. I don't know. I'm not like I don't know like all these legal terms, or whatever. But like Microsoft won the FTC case, and the FTC tried to request an appeal. That appeal got denied.
Yep.
So it seems that Microsoft, at least in America, you know, they're good to go. They can close the deal whenever they want, and like it's seeming like that's going to be happening like pretty soon because like the Activision Blizzard stocks have been like delisted, so you can't really buy anymore either. And so it seems like this is like happening like as soon as maybe Monday.
I am hoping so. We can package it. We can be like, all right, now just tell me what's coming to Game Pass and what's not coming to PlayStation.
Yeah.
But, really though, and that brings me to the next thing is like our next, I guess, hard date, right? For what we're waiting on is the CMA, their concessions that they're doing, and this one comes from Thurrit.com games. It's just like they're touching on the whole trying to make a deal with it says, what was the headline? It says UK CMA backtracks again, speeds towards Microsoft/Activision Blizzard approval from Paul Thurrott. Yeah, it just says less than 1 hour after Microsoft's legal victory against the US Federal Trade Commission on Friday, the CMA backtracked again and said that it could approve the software giant's acquisition. more quickly than previously expected. This means that Microsoft can now acquire the gaming firm with the CMA's approval within a few weeks. Says, quote, the inquiry group aims to discharge its duty as soon as possible and in advance of the original August 2019 29th date. So like they're trying to get it sooner than that even.
Yeah.
So separately, the CMA said that a, quote, detailed and complex submission from Microsoft, which contains concessions aimed at appeasing the regulatory body. Obviously, so the CMA, they denied it based off of like cloud. They're worried about what it means for the cloud emerging market, and so that's why the amount of oversight they'd have to give would just be too much for them in a growing market, they say. So which, I mean, really, I never, when I think about the threat from Microsoft, I guess maybe we're some time out before we're actually worried about cloud stuff, and infrastructure has to like get somewhere before we're really worried about that. And maybe over in the UK or somewhere else where it's more of a util or more, it's better, right? Like from all reports and what I've heard is that the internet is better everywhere else in the world. Most first world countries in the world versus us, right? So we have a ways to go to see like the actual ramifications from that, and so maybe that's where they're coming from. It's maybe more of a threat that way. I don't know, remains to be seen. It is nice to have that like hard August 29th, like, hey, we should not hear any more past this other than like, yo, here's the games. Like, what what do you think? I don't know, just like you're done with it.
I mean, honestly, at this point for me, it's just like, all right, what games are coming to Game Pass?
Yeah.
And like this is me. I'm like on two sides of this. Like the consumer side of me is like, all right, what can I get on Game Pass? When's Diablo 4 going on Game Pass so I can go play with everyone else? Things like that. What Activision titles are coming to backwards compatibility? Things like that.
Yeah.
And like I think that's like the general like public as well, where they're just like, it like all the consumer really cares about is like what do I benefit out of this? What games am I gonna be playing on Game Pass? What stuff is gonna be on backwards compatibility? Stuff like that.
Okay, and so with that, I have a few more things here that I'm gonna pull up. One from Charlie Intel on the regards to Diablo 4 on Game Pass, right? So this was, now keep in mind this is July 12th. This was before we knew like the deal finalized and everything. So from Akrit Sharma, Diablo 4 has been one of the biggest games of 2023. A million players have now spent hours on the title, with Microsoft Activision set to close soon. Here's everything we know about whether Diablo 4. So essentially they're saying, where was the tweet? Mikey Barra, right? Like he was from Mikey Barra's like, this is not happening, when people are like, hey, is Diablo 4 coming to Game Pass then?
Yeah.
Awesome. And then I'm thinking like, all right, how can he say that if he's owned by another company? Like,
yeah, and he used to work at Xbox too, which is pretty funny.
You know.
Yeah, I feel like he like says that now.
Yeah.
But like once this deal goes through, and like I'm gonna be honest, I don't expect Diablo 4 to be on Game Pass like immediately.
No.
But, like I can like see it in like a couple of months, maybe like next year or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
like it's not gonna happen immediately because the game just came out and they're like making bank on it. Like it's definitely gonna happen.
And maybe we might be proved wrong, but I think you're right in that sense. Like it won't come for maybe a month or so. Like when they get those first boom of initial sales, and that's why he's saying this tweet, right? It's like, let's not put the cart before the horse here and lose a bunch of sales because people are gonna wait for Game Pass, even though arguably, people know it's inevitable, and the people that were going to wait for it to come to Game Pass, in my mind, are still going to wait for it to come to Game Pass, right?
Yeah.
Because it will happen eventually, I think.
And like once Bethesda got acquired, like a whole bunch of like their back catalog got added to Game Pass.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can see like the whole thing. Yeah, it's gonna be coming soon.
Yeah. And in regards to the whole thing, let's look at what other games could be coming to Game Pass now that the deal is almost hopefully done closing, right? Something crazy could happen. So we have it from Xbox era. So this is just something someone made, right? This is like a user from their forums. It's like, okay, offer as many Blizzard games as we can on Game Pass. So like, what concessions are going to be made for PlayStation, and like what those agreements are. Who knows, right? What contracts are in the place? What this invalidates? I'm not a legal person or have that much in-depth knowledge of this, so let's play. Let's put our hats on, our roles of the games we think would be cool to see, right? So going through the list, we have all the CODs, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I do think back catalog of Call of Duty will probably come pretty soon.
Yeah, and like I kind of feel like maybe for that like DLC as well, because like the age of map packs, things like that.
mm,
If you didn't have the map packs, you were like kind of segregated from like the other people who did. So I kind of feel like they would just probably like give all the DLC like they kind of did for Halo. There was like Halo Reach and Halo 3 before they shut down the servers for those.
yeah.
They just like gave away all the free DLC for those. So maybe do the same thing with that. Um, I have tried to like to play like Black Ops 2 on backwards compatibility. There are definitely like I don't think they're gonna do anything about it. But, like there are like people like playing hacked lobbies and things like that. So I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna work out, but yeah.
Yeah, man. Um, it's mostly just the zombies, right? That would be exciting to
Yeah, that's
have.
mainly what I care about.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are in that camp where it's like some of the back catalog is just having all of it in one place would be really cool to play with friends. Be a cool stream idea too. That would be fun to just go like when they all. I'm betting like if I was betting, man, be very soon we'd have those on after they close, right? So
Yeah. Like I
um
said, yeah, like back catalog. Tony Hawk, I want to say something like that too, if you're gonna get into
yeah.
that.
So we have maybe the older Diablos, right? Two Resurrected and three I would see for sure.
Yeah.
Um, you think they would give like a bonus for Warzone, right? Because that's what I was. I don't
I
know.
would think, but I don't know if like they saw that deal with PlayStation right now. Cause I think you get like Warzone bonuses with PlayStation Plus. I could be wrong. But I kind of feel like that's maybe like a thing that they're gonna wait until like the deal expires or whatever.
Yeah, or I guess maybe Overwatch to bring a boon of player base in, like, hey, get the
Yeah.
heroes free or whatever. Like playing on Game Pass, play on
Yeah.
Xbox, you get this. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. Also be interesting to see if they like, all right, let's revitalize or this PVE stuff that we canned earlier for the what can we do with that? I think a lot of what Xbox is going to be doing up front is going to be like garnering the player admiration
Yep.
first and foremost, because there's a lot of skepticism in regards to this. So um Crash Bandicoot 4 we have, I think, and I don't know, I guess Crash Bandicoot in general, we'll probably see all of those.
Yeah, like the trilogy and then four.
I could
Um
definitely see those, which is it's as interesting because are all the crashes on Xbox now? I think they are, right?
yeah, I believe so.
Okay. And then but with Crash and Spyro, you kind of recognize them as PlayStation icons, right?
Yeah, but not anymore.
But not anymore. So that's gonna be a very strange one.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Uh so we have Prototype 1 and 2. I don't know if you ever played these games.
I always forget that Activision, did they develop those or they publish those?
I believe it was a publish, right?
Okay.
I believe it was publish
Yeah, I always
because
forget like Prototype was Activision.
that game is bloody, or those games are very bloody.
Yeah.
You use people as surfboards, just as a example. Um, the Geometry Wars apparently is one of them. I didn't know that they published that, so
Hmm.
I guess let's see. Yeah. So then we have really True Crime, Streets of LA, Blur, Singularity, Pitfall, The Lost Exhibition,
Yeah.
MTX, Gun, which is it's like a 360 game. I remember, like, I don't know, in the kind of gunslinger style. Apache, Metal Arms, Glitch in the System. I don't remember that GameCube game. Scarface, Reckless, and then these are saying Activision also developed or only published these games, but in most cases there would be probably be various licensing issues to solve. Not sure they would bother. Those games are old too. So like the
Yeah, I would say
yeah,
like anything that's like published, probably not for most of them. Like I know they published like some Spider-Man games, but like pretty
but
sure those aren't coming backwards compatibility or anything like
right,
that.
I it would be crazy if the Spider-Man games, like the some of them, um, and also a little weird because we don't have the new Spider-Man, right? Uh,
Yeah,
and then I'm thinking also like Sekiro, right? Which is another big one.
I don't know
I
about
don't
that
I don't know
one.
if it
Yeah,
will. I don't know if it will. That's a hard one, and I think that's maybe gonna be more up to the developer in that case,
yeah.
because it was a
I definitely think anything like
prior.
Activision developed is definitely coming.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
And then the last big one that I was gonna ask you, all right, was World of Warcraft. What do you think, or if anything, they're gonna do with World of Warcraft?
I mean, the most I can see right now is just like, hey, if you have Game Pass all on PC, you get a free sub to World of Warcraft. And even then, I don't even know if they'll go that far, to be honest, because like they probably like make a lot of money off World of Warcraft in the subs. Um, I don't know if they'll ever do like a console version. I mean, I kind of feel like if they were gonna do like a console port, they would have done it like a long time ago.
Yeah, true. A lot of
So like
people are wanting
I
that.
don't know about that one. Yeah,
Um, yeah, I think it's just interesting to see like hopefully some like dormant titles of theirs get pushed forward, and I guess a lot of people are
yeah,
hoping that they bring everybody out of the Call of Duty prison to start developing other games maybe, and then just pushing out development times for Call of Duty titles, right? Like making the project longer of a incubation and development time versus like
yeah,
what, every year, or no, it's 3 years per like and it's like three different publishers if I'm right. um Sorry, three different devs. um yeah, I don't know. I think it's like a sigh of relief, honest. When it comes down to it, I I don't know what more else can be said, but like corporate merger side of it, right? Like it just sort of feels overall like this glaze of growth. Like
yeah. I
I can't
mean,
really celebrate that much, right? So
yeah. I mean, like if you like look at the industry right now, like we're kind of like losing like these big third party publishers now. Like Microsoft already like gobbled up ZeniMax in general. That's like Bethesda and all like their other studios.
yeah,
Um, Activision Blizzard is of course like another really big publisher. The only other like publishers I can like think off the top of my head are like Square Enix, Capcom, EA, Ubisoft, and after that you just like start like going down to like you start like losing the options. It's like kind of harder to name like big publishers. I don't know if I mentioned EA already, but like yeah, like
yeah, and I don't know where I heard this, but like in terms of revenue and things like that, apparently this wouldn't even be bigger than EA combined in the gaming presence. Like Microsoft and these two would still not be as important as having like a Ubisoft or an EA at the
I don't
current
know
time.
about that. Have you seen how much Call of Duty makes a year?
I mean, Call of Duty alone, right?
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I guess that's where I would have pushed back to at that point. Yeah, I think it's interesting to see that without it, and it'd also be interesting what they don't put on PlayStation, right? Or
yeah.
because they can't pull what's already on there, I would think, right?
No, it's gonna be the
So
same thing like as Bethesda. Like anything already on PlayStation, they're gonna support. They're gonna already keep it on there.
what?
And I feel like any like new IP might not make it on the PlayStation.
Yeah,
But like Call of Duty, I think even after the 10 years is probably still gonna be on PlayStation. It's
it'd be
just that
the
I think
first better or best thing.
you're
Like,
gonna see it on Game Pass. You're gonna see it like all the advertisements say play it on Game Pass, play it best on Xbox, things like that.
yeah,
Um, where eventually, I guess, gonna see Call of Duty on Nintendo again, whether it's the
Yeah,
Switch or the Switch 2. We're gonna have to see. But I mean, like, I play. Have you ever played like Call of Duty back on the Wii? Like, I mean, it's
yeah.
not. They weren't bad. They were like
I
the same games, just like graphically turned down with pointer
I
controls.
and then the gyro controls were cool for
Yeah,
Call of Duty. Obviously not like the best then, but I think
of
like
course.
you could still do that just fine.
Yeah,
You have Overwatch on there already, and that's like crazy in itself, and it runs fine enough for you to play it. Like obviously, it's not gonna be the you're not gonna be competitive going
yeah,
if it's cross platform. So yeah, I don't know. They can get Fortnite and everything else working on there. I feel like they could get Call of Duty working as well.
yeah. And even if they don't get like the latest Call of Duty, I don't know. They can put like a remaster or something.
Yeah,
Like I'm kind of surprised like that didn't happen for the Switch this generation. Like no Modern Warfare remaster or anything like that.
maybe they just couldn't get the engine to work on it. I know
Yeah,
even Doom Eternal was like the impossible port, right? And
yeah,
in terms of like scope, that's more arena based um, than like a Call of Duty would be. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see if they do things like Overwatch, right? Like if they do any DLC or any single player stuff ever, which probably won't happen. Who knows? Maybe it's just the project went awry and they couldn't pull it together right. Um,
yeah,
if they do that, I could definitely maybe see it first on Xbox, and PC maybe, and have that timed exclusivity, which would feel weird. But I mean, it's what the industry works off of, man. Um, we're kind of in a place where I think everybody hates exclusives, but I feel like exclusives kind of drive innovation because you're working with the one platform. You don't have to develop for every single one, and you have all the
yeah.
resources of that first party stuff. I don't know. We'll see. And my I guess my follow up question would be like, do you think the management is going to be good? Right, like that's where I get concerned is like you have all of these studios now, or you're going to have all these studios. You already have a lot. Can you manage to pull them together and work together cohesively and get products out? Like that's a huge undertaking, right? Like
Yeah, I mean, like right now, I'm gonna say like Microsoft's track record isn't the best with that,
yeah,
with all these studios, because like Redfall, we all seen turned out as a disaster. They were too hands off with that game, and I think in general, like they're kind of like too hands off with their studios right now. So I mean, look at 343 with like Halo and all that stuff. Like that's just been a disaster, and
yeah.
like it doesn't seem like it's improving at all. Um, and so like I don't know like how it's gonna be a lot harder for them to like manage all these studios, especially with Activision Blizzard coming into the fold because like Activision Blizzard has a ton of employees, ton of studios, and I feel like they're gonna have a way harder time than compared to now, and they're gonna have to figure something out. That's for sure.
I Well, like you said, there's not really a good track record for uh what they've been doing with the property they have now. And so
Yeah,
I kind of worry that it might be maybe less good, right? It won't be, I don't know. And you've seen a lot of people leave. Obviously, you had the hemorrhaging of Halo Infinite Studio. You see a lot of, well, you have what's his name who just left? Larry Herb, I think his name.
yeah,
Um who's been there for years and years. Just as kind of like a voice for the people kind of thing, and really just sort of a semi insider. I know they had like a podcast and things like that. So, and then I guess maybe my last question would be like Phil Spencer, right? I heard somewhere that he had to start lining up a replacement, right? I
hmm.
don't know where I was hearing like they're having him try to plan like posthumously or I don't know pre his death of his position there, right?
Yeah.
To kind of work on that. And I would say, would there be as big of a push for this kind of stuff without him there? I don't know. I don't know. Like maybe they do see the money in it, and that's obviously you don't buy something like Activision Blizzard for $70 billion without solid theories and business plans. But I don't know, dude. Feels gross, but also I'm excited selfishly for some of the games that are going to come back and be available to more people. So yeah, I think that's all I have on Activision. Do you have any like any more thoughts on like what
I
you
mean,
expect?
we this topic has just been like, being
Yeah,
dead like a horse, like all over the internet like this past year. And so like I'm just ready for it to be like done with. I'm ready for my games to be on Game Pass to play, so I can
mm,
play Diablo 4.
yeah,
But I'm hopefully like it's just not Call of Duty that they focus on once this deal goes through, because like a lot that's what just Activision is nowadays. It's just like the Call of Duty machine. And I'm just like, give me more Crash, give me more Spiral, give me more Tony Hawk. Just like get back to like being original. Like just like Call of Duty is so overblown in my opinion. Like I just it's just I want more creativity in the industry. And just like it's just so weird that these AAA publishers are like just like trying to get that live service money, you know?
and we have it with Sony.
That's a whole different topic.
Yeah, that's a bag that maybe for another day. I do think though that it is interesting to see everyone pushing towards it, and
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it works better for their business model because they have Game Pass, and if people are hooked to the service that's only on Game Pass, then it's a big like it's a self-fulfilling loop. So
Yeah.
I guess we'll see, right? What we a little over a month guaranteed we'll see something, and
Yep.
then hopefully before then, maybe just Monday they'll just get everything together and we can be wash our hands of this. um all right, so in wrapping up of the show, I would ask you if you have a suggestion for somebody to either watch or play until they see us again.
Watch The Witcher if you haven't already.
Easy. Um, I would say again, maybe I mentioned at the beginning of the show, but Darkest Dungeon 2, if you're into
Yeah.
roguelikes at all, it's hard as hell, but I mean, it's rewarding when you finally do get to the next like checkpoint or whatever. Yeah, a lot of cool games this year. Our fantasy critic is going to be crazy. I do want to touch on that. Like, I do think we'll plan an episode here soon with everyone on the fantasy critic. It'll be a crazy camera setup around like we had the first time. We'll discuss all of the drama, all of the picks. But look out for that soon. I would say maybe within the next month. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I would say that's something we could look back on, because like we're already like almost at the end of
Yep.
July already. It's like already halfway, so
Yep.
we're getting there already.
I think it is time, and I think most people have filled out their list. So we'll have updates there and drama, and be sure to tune in, obviously, to youtube.com/x to interact. If you got it this far, first of all, thank you, and thanks for being here. It's always awesome to podcast with you, Eric, because I missed it, man. It's been like too long since we nerded out about video games, so good to be back. Yeah, and then if you haven't hit that like or subscribe, it really helps the channel. We are working towards YouTube partner, which is whatever it is, but it's a goal. And so I see you in chat, Luke Milo. Appreciate you being here, and we will see you all next week. Go ahead and interact with people. I don't know what's the ending here. All right, we'll see you guys.
See ya.